Well, here we are. I'm going to show you how we get started on this project. And this is my old pocket. This is what we're making right here. And we tie these pockets around our waist with this tape. They call this tape in the 18th century. And it is located right about here. And I do mine usually on my left side. And I keep in it various things, just like you would nowadays, whatever it is that you need to take with you on a daily basis. So you can see how plain it is. This is the first pocket I made. In fact, it's the only one I made. But I want to make one that's more like they had in the 18th century. So I found a book, a very good book, called Costume Close-Up for 1750 to 1790, and in it they discuss an antique pocket, which I am using. I'm using it for the colors, and I'm using it for the pattern, which they have over here. This is the pattern. You probably can't see it. So here's the page in the book I just told you about, and it shows the design that I'm trying to work with. So here we are. This is how far I've gotten so far. I don't want to go too far ahead before I have a chance to show you how it's going. So far I'm working with the one color, and I'm trying to get all the various vines of this design. It's basically a floral design, and I'm working on the vines right now. And I've got this fabric attached to this hoop, which helps to keep it taut and hold it in place. I'm using this wool yarn as my material, and it's working out really well. I got this stuff very inexpensively at the local yard goods store. Here's the pocket so far. I've been working on the embroidery using a lot of different colors, which are very interesting. And the embroidery takes the most time. I've got all the vine work done, as you can see here. And then now I'm starting to fill in with some of the florals, like this little item here. I guess that's a leaf or maybe a flower. And this is an 18th century design, in that it is, I'm copying it from an existing 18th century antique that they date between 1740 to 1770. So anyway, when all of this embroidery is done, then I'll be able to cut out the outline of the pocket and sew it together. I went to the local fabric store and bought a lot of different colors of wool to do the embroidery with. So it's kind of fun. I'm enjoying it. It's a new skill. I've never done embroidery work before, and I don't necessarily want to make it a new hobby. I just want to be able to do this project. So that's it so far. I'll keep you up to date. I just have to finish up in here. There's one flower there and a couple small details that I have to fill in. Probably be finished with that in the next day or two, and then I assemble the pocket, which will be exciting. Here's an update on the embroidery project so far. This is again for the pocket, and I wanted to bring you up to date. I think it's coming along fairly well, considering the fact that I don't know what I'm doing. Let me get you a close-up of that. Tried to bring you a little closer in here now to show you the fine stitches. Most of them were just little back stitches. But over in some of the flowers like this, I do what I call crossover stitches, where I just kind of cross over the entire flower petal or leaf petal or whatever. And it's kind of fun. The material that I'm using are these little strands of wool that I bought at the local yard goods store. They have various kinds of yarns and fabric and so forth. It's not a big chain store. It's just a small, what you might call mom and pop or brick and mortar store. And they have all kinds of wonderful colors. In the 18th century, for embroidery work, they would have used wool like this. Okay, I have this picture that I am using as a rough guide. give me some color ideas. Then I use a magnifying glass to get in closer to see what's going on. Well, I finally have the embroidery aspect of the pocket finished. I thought it turned out pretty good for my first try. So we washed this fabric. It's a cotton fabric, and of course it has the wool embroidered thread in it. So that was a little tricky. They do make a product called Color Savers, I think it's called. It's in the laundry department of your grocery store. I didn't have to use that. It stayed together pretty good. The next step is to assemble the pocket, and I've chosen this piece of scrap medium weight linen to be the backing, and then to also back up the embroidered sheet. So it's going to be like this. It'll have this backing which will protect the back of the embroidery from my hands shoving into the pocket. So that'll be the next step, to see how I can get that together. We are sewing the edge of the pocket now. It was kind of hard to figure out. I was going to put fabric tape around the edge and just fold it over, but I didn't like the way that looked. So instead, what I'm doing is I cut out the very back of the pocket, oversized by about 3/4 of an inch. And I'm attempting to fold that over. And I'm sewing it over top of the outer layer. I'm sewing it with a back stitch. I feel as though that's the best stitch to go with in this case. And this is the bottom part. I'm about halfway done with this. And let me back it up and give you an overall shot of where I am. Finish this stitch here. It's hard because the fabric is kind of dark, but just keep at it. Good light is essential. Good glasses are essential. Bring that out. Okay, let me back up the lens and show you the overall. Well, there's the pocket from the outside. You can see possibly that I've sewn this edge down. I'm coming down around, and I'm on the bottom now, just past the halfway point, if you can see that. And then I'm going to work my way up the other side. This is that excess of fabric that I'm folding over. See if I can zoom in on that. Okay. So there's the excess of fabric, how that's going to be folded over. And of course I fold it over again underneath to give a nice border. So I'll keep sewing in this fashion, and I'll finish it all the way up to the top, and then I'll do something up here, and then I'll catch up with you again when I put the 3/4 inch fabric tape, which is how you tie the pocket to your waist. So we'll catch up again when I'm ready to do that. I've got the seam finished all the way around. I'm working on the top area right now. I kind of ran into trouble because, like I said, this pocket is very small and I can barely get my hand into it. It's almost like a toy. But I'm going to have to leave the top of the pocket open, which they didn't do in the old days. They would sew that closed and you'd stick your hand in here. But as you can see, and I kind of have big hands, but there's no way I'd get my hand in there. Even Danielle can't get her hand in. So That's my solution, is to hem the top and leave it open. So here I'm hemming the top. It's kind of sloppy because I did not leave enough fabric. I didn't know I'd have to do this. So I'm kind of having to put some stitches in the corners to help conceal that bit of sloppiness. And then I just have to deal with this top area here and put the tie tape on. Well, we've got all that hemming done now, and I'm sorry I couldn't show the actual stitching, but I don't really have the right camera set up for that. But anyway, you can see what I'm doing. I've got these two flaps pinned back so that I can do some sewing in here. I'm at the point now where I'm just about finished, and I'm attaching the tie, the tie that goes around your waist. These old garments like this in the 18th century were actually tied to you. Even petticoats and aprons, they tied around your back. But I'm sewing the strap on right here. It's nothing fancy. This is the back side of it where you won't see it. And then this is the inside where you might actually see it when it's attached to you, when you've got it around your waist. So I'm sewing it right here. I'm working my way around. When I get to here, I'm going to turn around and go back down this way. And that'll be it. So I'll check in again when that's finished.